Sometimes it's hard to lift our voice. Sometimes we don't even know our voice. There are feelings and emotions that just won't allow us to verbalize the space that we're in. Secondary trauma, it's a whole real thing. Not sure what it is? Just stay tuned. Social injustices are real. They are heavy. And when you put them in the space of being in a pandemic, what do we do? How do we do? How do we navigate the waters that are not only muddy, but sometimes bloody? Stay tuned. Come on in, come on in. Glad you guys are here today. Either you're at lunch, on your way to lunch, or maybe should be. And if you're not in the same time zone, I'm just glad you were here. Grab you a snack if you need to. I have my tea. Our guest today is a mental health expert, a mom, a wife, international author and speaker. But most of all, a woman on a journey of self-discovery, of choosing self first, and prioritizing her mental health each and every day. We'll be back after a quick break. Do you have a story to tell? Wait. We all have a story to tell. If you are ready to tell your story as it relates to your mental health and the journey, the struggle, the management, the awareness, the lack thereof, we want you at Am I Crazy with LaShasta Bell. And what about sponsorship? Oh, thanks for asking. Because there's also the opportunity for sponsorship. Do you have a product? Do you have an event that you want to shout to the world? If so, check out our sponsorship. Same place as the guest forum. See you soon. We offer face-to-face and virtual counseling throughout the state of Texas. www.ichoosemecounseling.com. It's just me today, y'all. It's just me. I really thought about this episode and how to be as transparent yet informative. It's almost impossible to leave this month of February, this month that has been designated as Black History Month, and not really get to the nitty-gritty of the social injustices and how it impacts everyone, but mostly how it impacts me as a Black woman, as a mom of a Black son. I could not. I just refuse to allow this month or any month, because let's be honest, there's not a 30-day period that goes by that this is not a conversation that comes out of my mouth in some capacity. It's value in talking to as many people that are willing to listen about what's going on in our country, about what's been going on. And yeah, thanks to Facebook, Instagram, shout out to all the social media platforms that allow it to be more visual, which, here's the thing, it's not always a great thing to see. Secondary trauma is real, and I'll get to that in a minute. But I just wanted to take some time to be with you one-on-one, to get to know me a little bit better. Because yeah, I'm the host with the most of the time, but I'm not exempt. I'm not exempt because I'm a mental health professional. I'm not exempt because I'm an expert speaker on mental health. My mental health is impacted just like everyone else's. I make the decision to be intentional every day, sometimes moments in the day, with my mental health. So a few months ago, I want to say it was maybe about April of 2020. So almost a year ago. Goodness, COVID makes time feel like it's forever and then short at the same time, right? My son wanted a new bike because he said grew out of his other bike. In my mind, I'm like, how you grow out of a bike? Like, just ride the bike. Because I remember growing up that you could be 6 feet tall and be on a 20-inch bike or on the handlebars or on the back wheels, whatever worked. You get to where you need to get. So he asked about getting a new bike. And I'm like, okay, cool. We're in a pandemic. Getting out on the bike is safe enough. He'll get exercise, get some movement. And then this fear, this overwhelming fear start to crawl up my body. It's almost like it penetrated at my toes and did not stop until it was in my head, so encompassing that no other thought would come through. The fear of my son riding around on this new bike in our suburbia America. These visions started to populate in my mind of how he would not make it home on that bike. Now, mind you, we're in academy, like we're there buying the bike and all of this is taking place. And on the exterior, I have to make the choice to keep it together. I have to make the choice to not break down on the bicycle aisle with my son watching. It's not afforded to me in this country to be able to break down in the middle of the store and not be arrested. It's just not afforded. And culturally, it's not afforded to me to do so, sometimes even in the privacy of my own home. Although I did. I cried, I was upset. I purchased the bike. My son was happy. I was torn. I was angry. Why in the hell do I have to suffer with fear in the land of the free in 2020? Why does it take so much energy to go buy a bike? There were so many emotions, so many. And I had to choose to sit with each and every one of them and make space for them. I didn't have a choice, basically, I could tell you that, because they were so overwhelming. And I talked to my son, and my husband and I, we talked to him, gave him the safety rundown. It's almost like some unspoken hidden rules that should be printed up and laminated for Black boys to carry in their pockets. When you're riding your bike, don't have your hood on your head. It's not about look both ways for traffic. It's not about signaling when you're making a right turn. It's about keeping your head on a swivel. If you see this suspicious person or that suspicious person, go to the closest friend house and knock on the door and ask to be let in. Keep your location on. Make sure your battery is charged. Why do I have to do this with my son? Because the world, the country we live in, says all lives matter. Says police lives matter. And don't get me wrong, they do, but they're not the ones endangered. They're not the ones that have to worry every time they walk out of their house, every time they're pulled over by a police officer. Back to my story, because I can get on that soapbox and I can ride it. But there's nothing like me giving you my truth. So we get the bike. I work through these feelings. I talk to my therapist. Yes, your girl has a therapist. Every good therapist should have a therapist. I'm going to just plug that in. So I process it, talk to my therapist about it, talk to my son, talk to my husband. I start to feel like I can breathe. You can ride around the neighborhood, come back before dark. You can ride to the next neighborhood that we used to live in, Be sure to check in at various friends' house so that we know your timeline. So we still had to put in measures for his safety. About 2 weeks into having this bike, he said, "Hey, Ma, can I go ride my bike?" "Sure, son." And of course, guess what? Every single time we go over these rules that should be laminated and put in his pocket. And so he goes to ride his bike. About an hour or two in, I check his location. And I see the little blue dot. It's not moving. Okay, well, maybe it needs to update. So I put my phone down. Within 5 minutes, I find myself picking it up, checking the little blue dot. It's not moved. I call my husband. He doesn't answer. I call him again. He doesn't answer. I call my son. He doesn't answer.
Growing up, young women find themselves at an age where they start to notice their body is going through changes. With these changes, there may come stages of fear and being uncomfortable. We are here to make that transition as positive as possible. If you would like to throw your own personal glow-up party for your young queen, contact us quickly as slots are filling up. We hope to see you soon. And remember, we'll make you glow up. All you have to do is show up.
That fear starts to creep back in, mixed with panic. I start to feel like I can't breathe. It's not enough air in the room. Who doesn't answer their phone? They always answer the phone. The calls, the text messages. I'm still looking. The blue dot does not move. About 30 minutes out, I feel like I have no choice. I hop in my car and I go to where the blue dot is. As I'm driving, oh my gosh, I envision things that a mother should never have to envision. Why isn't the blue dot moving? Did somebody grab him off his bike? Has he been beaten up? Has he been shot? Did he break the code? What has happened to my son? Because this blue dot, it's not moving. It's supposed to be moving. He said he was riding his bike. Riding a bike means the blue dot moves. I get to the blue dot. As I pull up, I see my son in the driveway with his friends playing basketball. I become so overwhelmed with relief that I can do nothing but cry. My son comes over to the car and I'm like, "Son, you didn't answer your phone. You were supposed to be riding your bike. Pop said I could stop and play basketball with my friends." "I'm sorry, Mom. The music was up." "I'm sorry, Mom." "Mom, are you okay?" I'm okay. You'll be okay." Why? Why does my son have to co-regulate, regulate, apologize for playing basketball with his friends? It should not be. We have to do better. It's not an option not to. I had to contend with the fear, with the anxiety that was brought on by social injustices. Now, mind you, I didn't watch any of the videos, y'all, because I know about secondary trauma. And secondary trauma just means that you experience it from a secondary place. It did not happen to you, but it feels like it does. And even in not watching the video, the secondary trauma was so very real for me that it almost tried to get me by the neck and allow me not to breathe. I had to make the decision to breathe through it, to sit with those feelings, to give myself permission to cry when I needed to cry, to scream when I needed to scream, and to talk to friends and family when I needed to talk with friends and family. But many of us don't know what to do with the fear, with the rage, and we allow it to sit within us and create a person that we are not, and create behaviors that are not character of our behaviors in ourselves. Will there ever be a day that there's not any social injustices? Who knows? Will there ever be a day where all people are treated like human people? Who knows? Will emotions and feelings be? Absolutely. Can it create a pathway in our mental health wellness that leads us down a dark road? Absolutely. Can it create a pathway that leads us to a brighter day? Absolutely. We have to choose. We have to choose to prioritize ourselves first and sit with our feelings. So after exploring all the feelings and emotions and making room and space, I got to thinking, because guess what? Any actions, they start with thoughts first. I had to ask myself, LaShasta, what are you doing? What are you doing beyond showing up at work and helping others to create change with social injustices? Don't get me wrong. I am not minimizing the work that I do. As a mental health professional, I'm on the front lines. I'm managing and supporting everyone in their emotions and feelings every day. I take nothing away from that. But that is my role as a therapist, as a mental health expert. It's the profession that I chose, or the profession that chose me. I had to ask LaShasta, like, what are you doing? So what did I decide to do? I decided to join the NAACP. I decided to go and march and protest. I decided to let my words become actions and do more. I can't tell you what impact it has on others, but I can tell you the impact it had on me. It empowered me to believe that, yes, there will be a day where we're all treated equal, that there will be a day where I will not have to fear my son riding his bike. And oh my goodness, let's not even go to driving a vehicle and that's coming around the block. It empowered me, which in turn helped to improve my mental health well-being, the way I felt about myself, the way I felt about my son, the way I feel about this country, this world. And that's what it's about. That first, we have to contend with us and our mental health before anything else can happen. And so as this month comes to an end, comes to a close, whether you are Black, Latina, white, African American, Hispanic, whatever it is that you subscribe to, I want you to take a moment to check in with yourselves. I want you to take time to ask, what can I do to help improve the condition of the Black, the African American person in this country? Can I sit and have an open conversation? Can I choose to look at the whole story, the whole picture, the whole history? Not just Black history in February, but can we integrate? Can we weave in and let it be our story? Because no matter what, we all are here together. We've all created history together, and we will all pursue a future together. On an individual level, we get to decide what that togetherness looks like. So I thank you for taking time to let me share parts of me with you on Am I Crazy with me, LaShasta Bell. So let's just inhale and exhale. Come on, y'all, breathe with me. I know As heavy as it is for you to hear, it was just as heavy for me to tell. But once again, stories must be told. The reality of where we at in our society must be shared. Social injustices have happened as long as we can go back in history. And it's not so much about whether they happen or not, it's more so how we respond. We want to place it in the hands of our government and our president, but we are the society. We are the community. We are the ones that can make a difference. Secondary trauma, as I shared before, is what it is. That you literally, it's not your experience. And trauma is anything that happens that can disrupt your everyday being. So it's not your own personal experience, but it comes as a result of someone else's experience. So if you started to cry or remember a time when you felt the fear as I was talking, that could be something one would consider as being traumatized from a secondary space. So with all of the recent killings of Blacks in our community, in our society, in our world, in our nation, a lot of us are experiencing secondary trauma. As a Black woman, we are the most disrespected person. We are the ones who are expected to carry the most and are helped the least. But we don't have to look to anyone to rescue us. We can choose to rescue ourselves first. And then we go about the business of rescuing everyone else, because that's just what we do. So be sure to take time to further educate yourself on the social injustices that exist. Let's just start in your community, because to think that they're not in your community would mean you should think again. Until next time, take care.